Alright, today we're going to be converting rational numbers. This is the first video. We will be looking at converting decimals to percents and percents to decimals. So get out your notes and fill in the blanks as we go along. So when we convert from a decimal to percents, we are going to be multiplying by 100. So our numbers will be getting bigger. Multiplying by 100 is the same as moving the decimal 2 times to the right. And lastly, don't forget to add your percent sign. Okay, so one trick to remember is that when you're going from a decimal to percent, that P kind of looks like an R. So that's how I remember to go to the right. Okay? The P decimal to percent. The P can turn into an R, which stands for right. So that's my little trick. All right, let's look at some examples of turning some decimals to percents. Our first question is, what is 4.32 as a percentage? So we're going to write our number. And remember, we're multiplying by 100, okay? Which is the same as moving that decimal 2 times to the right. So we're going to move it 1, 2, and our answer would be 432%. Okay, let's look at another example. All right, our next example is writing 0.056 as a percentage. So once again, we're going to start with that number, 0.056, and we are multiplying by 100, but now we know when we go to a percentage, we're moving our decimal 2 times to the right. So we're going to do that, 1, 2, and so our number now becomes 5.6, and don't forget that percent sign. Okay? All right, on the next slide, on example C here, I would like you to pause the video and try to figure out what 88 is as a percentage. So go ahead and pause that video and unpause it when you're ready for the answer. 88 as a percentage, we write that number, put our decimal, and we're going to multiply by 100, or move our decimal 2 times to the right. So our final answer is 8,800%. All right. Our last example, you're going to do this one on your own. So go ahead and pause the video before we go to the next section and work out what 4.25 is as a percentage. And we will check that tomorrow in class. All right, moving on. Just like we need to convert from decimals to percents, we also need to convert from percents to decimals. So for this, you're actually going to do the opposite. So instead of multiplying by 100, we're going to divide by 100. So that is the same as moving the decimal 2 times to the, remember this has to be the opposite, so we're going to go to the left this time. To the left. Dividing by 100, we're going to be getting a smaller number. And don't forget to remove the percent sign. Okay, so remember we're going to a decimal, so a decimal does not have a percent sign. The trick here, it's not as obvious, but to go from a percent to a decimal, that D, if you start, kind of looks like an L when you start the letter. So we're going to be going to the left this time, okay, to get to a decimal. So we'll see that in our examples on the next slide. So percents to decimals, we're dividing by 100 and moving the decimal 2 times to the left. Our first example, what is 77.2% as a decimal number? So I'm going to rewrite 77.2%, okay? And our rule says to convert from a percent to a decimal, we're going to move that decimal 2 times to the left this time. 1, 2. I place my decimal. So my final answer would be 0.772. And remember, we're getting rid of that percentage sign because we're looking for a decimal number. Okay, let's look at another example. Example F. What is 0.33% as a decimal number? So again, I'm going to rewrite 0.33%. I'm looking for a decimal number, converting from a percent to a decimal, so I'm dividing by 100, okay? And when I divide by 100, I'm moving that decimal 2 times to the left. So my final answer would be 0.0033, and I've got to get rid of that percent sign. So there's my final answer. All right, one more example. Go ahead and pause the video and try to figure out example G. What is 1.56 as a decimal number? Go ahead and pause, and then we'll work it out together. Check your answer to see if you got the right answer. So 1.56% as a decimal, moving that decimal 2 times to the left. So my final answer, 0.0156, no percent sign. Okay, again, our answer is a decimal, so it's not a percentage anymore. We just converted when we moved that decimal 2 times to the left. All right, last example. You're going to do this one on your own. This is H, example H. What is 15.5% as a decimal? Go ahead and try that one on your own, and we'll check it in class tomorrow. Great job. We're going to be moving on with our rational number conversions tomorrow. See you in class.